Hey there, guys. This is Chaos Vergil speaking. This is kind of an off-script sort of thing, but I kind of want to apologize a little bit. It's not like I did anything bad, like majorly bad, but it's sort of a thing that I kind of promised that I would do at some point, but I didn't really get around to it for a while. The main reason why there was such a delay in the first place and why I'm uploading this now mainly relates to my college courses, and due to the fact that now, by the time this video gets posted, in a week, I'm going to be graduating. So I will finally be done with college. I won't have to worry about any of that stuff, and I can finally move on with my career and maybe even, actually do some other kinds of videos. This video right here is supposed to be the interview between me and Wambu, and the two of us had a really good time with this interview. I had it for quite some time, probably about a year at this point, and I really just wasn't sure if I was ever going to make the documentary that I mentioned in that video. I am pretty sure I'm not going to. I might. It could possibly happen, but then again, I'm releasing this first because, I feel like this should be out in public, at least now. So essentially this is kind of an apology to Wambu, so I am sorry for not really posting this sooner, and I want to make it up by making it so that this video goes on my channel, but I will make a separate video of highlights that will go straight to Wambu and he'll post it on his channel. So that's sort of a thing that I wanted to do to kind of make it up. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy. Sorry about the audio issue that Wambu has in the video. I don't know why it happened, but either way, it was a weird thing that happened, and he sounded fine on my end, but I guess some things just didn't go as according to plan. But either way, his audio, despite how weird it sounds, you could still understand what he's saying, and I think at the end of the day, that's at least somewhat important. I'm not sure how I can fix that, but if I could, I would try to. Anyways, enjoy the video.
Recording any screen, I'm just throwing in a picture of like peeled zigzagoon.
All right.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah. Anyways, first of all, how are things? How was your New Year's party that you mentioned?
Yeah, it was lovely. It was a wonderful time. I just got to hang out with some friends, just talk, sort of reminisce on the previous year. It was great. It was a fun time.
Yeah. Most recent video with your top 10 top 10 skulls. That one was actually probably one of my new personal favorites, to be honest.
Thank you.
Yeah, I actually really think probably one of my favorite parts is definitely when you do like that whole shitpost status sort of thing, like with your April Fools.
The whole like dream sequence at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That stuff's funny. Like it's sort of like that kind of humor that some people don't honestly get all the time, but when you're sort of just like kind of like that kind of like nonsensical kind of stuff, it's just really enjoyable. But I also just love your general humor like overall. Like
Thank you so much. I sort of call it like the weird Zoomer crack humor.
That's a fact,
really
honestly.
Yeah.
Especially when you get good timing when it comes to editing stuff. I just love like the perfectly timed edits to make anything just 100 times funnier. Like not to like plug or anything, but like in like one of my other videos, one of my favorite edits that I've done was when I was like doing some Yakuza 0 stuff. I remember like during the cutscene with Majima being first introduced in the cabaret, when the guy throws the bottle behind him, I made a cut to that one scene of the Big Lebowski where he gets hit in the head by the cup. And like I like tried to perfectly track the text to say bottle when it hits him right in the head. It's perfect.
Excellent. I don't know if this is like a story I should say for the interview or something, but like
go ahead.
but there was it's funny, I have this one of my friends caught her brother watching my videos, and and she was like, "Oh, Wambu, I know him." And he's like, "Oh, you watch his videos too?" And she's like, "No, I literally know him. Like, I know him in person."
Oh my god, that's
So
amazing.
yeah, it turns out that like my friend's brother is like a really big fan of mine, and all this time he was only like a degree away from being able to beat me.
You're just just like that must have been like a holy shit moment.
Yeah.
By the way, how does just as a quick thing, because I got a new mic just to be sure, because like this is the main thing I was like wanting to do before I started the interview, was getting this new mic for Christmas. How's it coming through?
Oh, you're coming in like completely clear.
Oh, that's so
Yeah,
Thank
I can
you.
hear you perfectly. I do have a fan going in the back because my room's kind of stuffy. Do you want me to like turn that off so it doesn't bleed through in my background noise, or doesn't it? Is it
I
is it
don't think
okay right now?
I don't think it I'm gonna mind too much. I think it's perfectly fine. I've got my fan on too, but it's like on low, so
Yeah.
I can understand. So so how about we get this like properly started? Like just
Okay.
like we are like I already started recording and stuff, but it's like I
Oh,
want to
okay.
get
Yeah.
started with like some
Yeah.
questions and stuff.
Yeah. I'll
So
start recording right now.
all right, cool. So
Yeah.
first things first. Hello everybody, and welcome to this interview with Wambu. Uh,
Hello.
I'm call- I'm I'm calling the whole video, the whole documentary, Wambu, Wambology, the study of Wambu, because of your
Oh
Twitter.
my god.
I was like, I saw your Twitter handle, and like when I first saw that and was like thinking of this idea, I was like, got the name right there.
Yeah, I think I made some sort of joke like that in my 50K sub special, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Oh my god. Again, though, although I just gotta say, SpongeBob just loves some of the earlier humor. I grew up on that shit.
Yeah. I mean,
Alright.
technically, it's not even Wambology, it's Wambulogy.
Wambulogy, ooh, spooky. Ah,
Yeah.
it's spooky chandelure. So,
Mhm.
so speaking of like childhood and stuff, what was it like growing up for you, essentially? Like, you don't have to
Oh,
go into
wow.
like specific details or stuff, just general stuff.
Yeah, so growing up, I had aspirations of being a cartoonist. I used to draw a lot of little stick figure comics and stuff, and I think uh, I used to be really annoying about it because I would make something and then I would want to show like all my friends how funny and silly my funny random stick figure comic is. Um, I was very, I think, like insular. Like my group of friends was always kind of small. But I always did my best to kind of create. I did a whole lot of drawing. I did my best to create things that I just thought were like funny, and I'd want to share them with everyone like all the time. And yeah, I guess that's what it was. I was never that good at socializing because I had untreated anxiety for most of my life.
Ah.
But I think that feeling of wanting to, perform and make people laugh and just create things that people would enjoy, that's always been around since I was a kid.
Because yeah, I can somewhat relate. I've done like drawings and stuff too. I've got like some anime shit that I've drawn when I was like that I actually made. I remember like I used to like draw SpongeBob when I was a kid. Like I would do like a pretty good job at replicating how he looked. Like I don't like trace and stuff. I just like visually I'm just like, okay, I can replicate this to that. And I even did like a little bit of like Sonic drawing when I was like in elementary school. And now I've got like some other like awesome stuff on my wall. Like I specifically drew like the father son Kamehameha scene from Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
I made like a different version of that where Gohan for a split second goes Super Saiyan 3 and then he has his adult version behind him.
There's like this there's this meme that's been going around Twitter where it's like this really intense picture of Shaggy from Scooby Doo,
Oh.
and it says neurodivergent kids imagining characters from their hyperfixations in really cool scenarios, and that was me all the time.
Oh my god, yeah.
That's still me to an extent.
By the way, it must not have been really all that easy for you to draw and stuff, considering that you were a wee old Litwick at the time.
Yeah, it's weird drawing without any arms.
I know, like you almost could like burn up the paper.
Yeah.
By the way, when did you get that dark stone?
Oh no, you're making me establish lore for myself.
Yes!
I wasn't prepared for this.
I'm going to make the Wambu lore. Probably some of this is gonna get cut anyways. Like this is gonna definitely be like all this is gonna be in the interview, but like for the documentary itself, this is part of it's gonna definitely get cut. Just to like pretend to establish some kind of lore, like a sort of half mockumentary sort of thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So when did you get that? How long did it take for you to find that dark stone?
Oh my god. Now I have to come up with some sort of lore on the fly.
If you want, you can think of it throughout the interview if you need to. Oh man.
You know what? That's classified info.
Damn it! I wanted this scoop. I want give me photos of Wambu.
Send teenage Wambu pics.
Send them. Like I don't know if this is possible for you to do. I would really just like for you to like send to like take like a normal picture of like you and your family in the house, and then just Photoshop like all the different like just Photoshop over just different stages of evolution for the Chandelure line over each member of your family.
It is, I guess to sort of touch on it in a serious way, that is kind of something that that's always, it's, I don't know, I've always seen my avatar not really as like, its own original character, but just how I choose to visually represent myself online. And sometimes I'll play into the lore thing if I just think it's funny. Like I had that whole bit in my recent list where it's like, I live in an abandoned mall and I sleep on a pile of bones. That's just a fun little bit of, I don't know. I guess it is never something that's going to come back again. Like I'm never going to touch on that again in another video. But people really like just those really goofy bits of lore, I guess.
I know. I do too. Speaking of which, how's New York?
The skull, he's vibing.
I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you didn't. Yeah, I'm glad you didn't sell him. He's a good friend.
So the funny thing about that is, back when I was in like middle school or like early elementary school, my mom kind of just signed me up for an acting class at a local theater.
Really?
Yeah, and I remembered that this is actually in a way where New York came from, because I remember someone else, one of the other kids in the class at the time, was doing the whole "Alas, poor Yorick" thing, and he said,
"Alas, poor New York."
He said, "Alas, poor New York," and that got lodged in my brain for years.
Oh, that is something that you're just like, I'm never gonna let this kid down, or I'm gonna use this as just some kind of meme, and you chose the latter.
That's one of the main things I remembered from my old acting class, was the one kid saying, "Alas, poor New York," and I decided to just adapt that into the skull list and then make New York just his own character.
That's kind of adorable in a way, and I like that. I like stuff like that. It's fun, I just like having fun with stuff like that. Like when you can just have fun making making a video and just like enjoy like some of the stupid edits you're gonna make. Uh,
Yeah,
it's
my friend Wave, who occasionally helps me with editing,
yeah.
he's from New York and he has this thick New York accent. He does the voice of New York in the video. He does like the "Good night, Wambu" at the very end. But he also does this thing where anytime someone brings up like pizza, he's like, "I'm from New York. I know good pizza." So
Oh,
I embedded a little like pizza into New York's skull
oh
to
my.
indicate that he's New York. That's why he's
Now
that's
just
how he represents New York, is with the little pizza etching on his head.
just a little bit of a weird question. Why the stop sign for when for when you were baking that pizza in the in the ranking of all the specimens?
I think that was
So I'm just thinking of that image now with you just baking like a slice of pizza on a stop sign.
that was one of the entries that Wave had edited.
Ah, that
So he
and you
kind of came
embedded
up with that.
a bit of New Yorkness into that.
Yeah, and I guess that's like the whole bit he had was, I say, "Hey, stop here, there's going to be spoilers," so I hold up a stop sign, and then he elevates the bit even more by having the stop sign catch fire, and then I cook pizza on the burning stop sign. That's the
You
kind of
made it
fun.
catch fire.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that I love having Wave as a sort of a spare editor. If I kind of bite off more than I can chew, is that he him and I have very kind of similar editing humor, and he knows how to elevate a joke like that. So I trust him a lot when it comes to helping with editing my videos.
Oh man, shout outs to Wave Runner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, by the way, speaking of your avatar in general, because you started out with like the whole thing where you were like just kind of looking like a normal dude with a hat, and then you went over to
Yeah.
an Azumarill, and now you're and now you are the Chandelure with the with the unknowns that just say Wambu on it, which I think is a really
Yeah.
nice detail.
Yeah.
So what was it that made you go from each of those avatars essentially?
So I don't know. I guess I would say it just took me a while to find an image that I really liked having. I got tired of the guy with the hat pretty quickly, and then
Yeah, because you only
um,
used it for like the bad tropes done right thing.
well, I used it for like my first, I want to say, 4 lists. Like I used it,
Yeah.
I used it up until the TF2 list, and
Oh
then
yeah, you
when
did
I
use it in
did
the TF2 one. That
when I
that was least favorite weapons, right?
it was most favorite
Oh,
weapons
that one
actually.
was
It
most
was
favorite. Yeah. God,
yeah.
those opinions have changed, or probably have changed since then, considering how much they've updated those weapons.
I basically, with the exception of my very first list, because I think my very first list holds up okay. I pretty much regret all my old videos that like up until the first Ace Attorney list I did.
Oh yeah,
But hey,
the
yeah,
best and worst cases of each
yeah,
game.
yeah. But that's part of the growth process,
Yeah.
like sometimes if you're starting video making, you kind of have to go into it with the idea of like, I might start out kind of bad, but I'll improve over time.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta like have your bad shit first. Like I remember doing like I remember it was like I used to do like back when it was like back when I was in middle school actually. I was like heavily inspired by like Chugga Conroy and did like
Hmm.
and like was wanting to do Let's Plays and stuff. And I didn't obviously have like a capturing device. So what I literally did was I took my iPhone and like set it up in front of my DS to record like footage of me playing Pokemon Fire Red. That's like that's how ancient that was.
Yeah,
Although I can never forget that, mainly because that was when I had encountered a shiny Ekans. Like, and
Mhm.
like I didn't actually get the recording of it because I had wasted up too much space with the other stuff that I was recording. But my God, that was a memory for sure.
Mhm.
Man, Yinis, which is just shiny backwards, obviously. Oh man, man. Speaking of Pokemon, so what made you go from an Azumarill? Like, what made you choose an Azumarill in the first place, by the way, and then Chandelure, actually.
Yeah, so I had really liked Azumarill at the time. It was my second favorite Gen 2 Pokemon. It's kind of fallen a little bit now. Um, but I still love it. I'd still rank it among some of my favorites. Um, and I think it was like, I don't know. I guess it's sort of a vague feeling of, at some point, sometimes you kind of look at your avatar and you just think, I don't really see it as me. And that's how
Yeah,
the Azumarill was, where I think also the artist who I worked on with it, who also made the Chandelure avatar, by the way,
who? Speaking of which, who was the one who did that?
Biosic C, who used to go by Liquid Pencil. Um, so I think he took so many liberties with the Azumarill design that it almost didn't even look like an Azumarill of me anymore. And I don't know, it was something that I got tired of real quickly. Like I got tired of looking at it over time. And at the time, Pokken had come out, and or at least Pokken had showed off the Chandelure trailer, and I just thought Chandelure looked so cute in that trailer, looked so nice, and I thought like that would be a pretty good avatar. And it and I've just kind of stuck with it ever since because the Chandelure avatar is just it's so fun to edit with. I get to dress it up, I get to change its color, I get
You get to literally have its eyes just move off of
yeah,
its body.
yeah, I get to move the eyes separately from the face. It's such an enjoyable avatar to work with, and it's a cute, endearing design in my opinion. Even though it's just green Chandelure, like
Yeah, well,
people seem to,
plus with the unknown text.
yeah, people seem to like it quite a lot. It's also got the little Undertale heart on it as well.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, and you did, and I just remembered that the fact that you also had the other avatar for the Undertale video specifically.
yeah, that one was commissioned. I commissioned that one from my friend Amethyst26, who has a very cute art style, and at the time I just wanted a very, very cute avatar because it was a doggy. And I think that avatar was very nice. I liked that guy a lot too. I just it wasn't as fun to edit with as the Chandelure avatar, but it's just very cute looking.
Yeah. I'm just also thinking of when you threatened when you threatened Spectre's Park with a pizza cutter.
That's kind of a very, very little a very minor recurring thing. Like I've kind of touched on this before, but I don't normally like to do callbacks in my
Yeah,
videos. But I'll
the
throw in like little nods. Like
yeah.
I like to sort of reward people for knowing my videos, but I don't like to isolate people for not knowing my videos, if
Yeah,
that
so
makes
it's sort of
sense. I've
like you.
always
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a good mentality, kind of sort of given. I guess in a way that's kind of similar to in a way to how JoJo does it. Like those who follow it, all the parts are like can like follow it a little more better. But then it's like for those who have, but it's like anybody new can still come into like any part still.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that I always like I've worked with other people, and there are times where collaborators I'm working with, like Ed or Sparky, will be like, "Hey, we should do a reference back to this video you did," and I'm like, "No," because I always run off the mentality that my videos are not episodic. Any video I make can be someone's first exposure to me, so I want to welcome those newcomers. Like even though I've been doing this for a long time, it's very possible that someone could discover me through like the skull video, for example. And I know for a fact a lot of people discovered me through the Spookies video, since
Yeah,
that's like
1.4
one of my
million.
biggest. Yeah.
That
So any
that
any
video exploded, man. That
yeah.
is, man. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And I got to meet Kira through that video as well,
yeah.
and that
That's
was
actually,
lovely.
yeah. That's just kind of cool when you get to meet people like that. Like how I am meeting you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kira has also occasionally, was it my friend and I streamed Lost in Vivo, which is another game Kira made, and Kira was like in the stream chat, sort of helping us out. They were answering a few questions from the audience about like, oh, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? It was a wonderful time.
Yeah. That's just really nice though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It like, and also like back to like the first video you ever made.
Yeah.
What was it like making that for the first time? Were you like nervous? How was the creative process and all that for you?
Yeah. So I guess something that one of the things that's worth mentioning, I guess, is that I was initially inspired to do countdowns back in like 2013 or something. I remember I was like maybe only like 18 or something at the time. And
Man, you were just taking me back, by the way. Just like,
Yeah,
I'm just reliving those days in my head already.
yeah, I had absolutely no confidence at all. So I had the list conceptualized and partially written, kind of, but I never I just never released it because I wasn't, confident about my ability to perform or whatever. And eventually, I don't know. It's hard to say, but like eventually, I kind of just got over that. Like I stopped getting hung up on all the things that a lot of people tend to get hung up on. Like a lot of people, when they're making their first video, they'll think like, oh, how am I going to stand out? How is my personality going to be different? And I just didn't want to worry about that. I wanted to just be like, you know what? I want to make something and put something out there, and if I decide to stick with it, then it'll just naturally grow over time. I don't need to worry too much about like how distinct my personality is, or if anyone is doing it better than I am, or anything like that. I just want to make the things that I want to make,
Yeah.
Um, and it helped that at the time I had recently auditioned for this audio drama that Josh Scorcher had been hosting.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and I had gotten the part, like I had gotten in, and that was like a big confidence boost. So that, I think that was kind of the hurdle I eventually overcame to reach the point where I felt ballsy enough to release my first video.
Damn.
And I think it's solid for a first video. I think it's I hold to a lot of my rankings in it. Like Jolteon is still my number one. Aerodactyl's still my number two. I hold to my rankings in that list mostly.
So yeah, you were talking about your favorite Pokemon.
Yeah, my favorite Kanto Pokemon specifically.
Oh, your Kanto specifically. You ever plan on doing like something with, like thinking about like all Pokemon? Just thinking about your top 10 favorites of all time?
Yes.
Oh.
Not just top 10 though.
Oh.
But yes, I have, and I do have that partially written. It's not my next video, mind you.
Yeah, I feel like there's something else coming next, but
I have no idea what my next video is yet. I just finished the Skull video, so I'm kind of in like a chillaxing period for a little bit.
Yeah, kind of like with Sakurai and Smash Brothers, you deserve a bit of a break.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I keep accidentally playing. Just so you know, in my recording, I keep switching between pages, and I keep accidentally playing a bit of audio from my lists. So if you listen to my recording and there's like a tiny bit of audio bleeding through from like my own videos, then that's why.
Oh, that's perfectly fine. That's
Yeah,
perfectly fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Any other specific questions?
Well, I mean, I've still got plenty to go through, but
All right.
yeah. So, like inspirations. I'm guessing, like, since you were thinking, like, who do you think inspired you the most, though, out of all the countdown creators back in the day? Was it Josh or was it Alex?
Those are my only two options.
Or is there another, or like there might be another niche option that I'm not thinking of at the moment?
So I guess I'll say that back in the day when I had decided I want to make countdowns, the person who inspired me to do that was Rabbit Luigi.
Oh, Rabbit, yeah.
But in terms of, but his, I still like his content, but it did kind of fall off for me over time.
Yeah.
No disrespect to him, he's goated in the countdown community, and for good reason for the
Yeah,
most part.
I feel like like personally, if I can interject with a little bit of my opinion, not to like
Yeah.
diss on him or anything,
Yeah.
because I still enjoy his content from time to time, but I feel like maybe I think maybe he should span out his creative content a little bit more and like extend stuff further. Like most of the time now, it's like top fives, but it's like I feel like maybe some good old classic top tens where he gets to like talk about more stuff overall.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
I think
actually,
that'd be nice.
Actually, it's interesting. I was talking about this with I think I talked about this separately with both Josh Scorcher and Fawful's Minion. But I remember Josh Scorcher in particular had something to say about this uh, because he was approaching this from the angle of like, that's unfortunately the hustle you have to go through in order to sort of make a living off of YouTube.
Yeah, to stay relevant.
If YouTube is your main like monetary like if YouTube is your main source of income, then to an extent, you have to be uploading frequently, and you have to be just constantly putting stuff out there. So he approached it from the angle of like, that's the hustle, and that's just what it is. And I agree with that. I understand that when you're doing it for monetary benefit, you can't always I guess you can't always prioritize quality over quantity, I guess.
True.
I'm in a very comfortable position because I have a separate full-time job that that's my main source of income, is a separate job that I have. And then YouTube to me is my passion. It's something that I can work on without the monetary pressure, and I think that's kind of a unique advantage I have, is that I can just make the things I want to make because it doesn't need.
Okay, that was weird. You were kind of cutting out a little bit there.
Oh, sorry. I was saying, that's one of the advantages I have, is that YouTube is not my financial lifeblood, so I can just make the art that I want to make.
Yeah,
and
it's always nice to be able to just do that. Make whatever the hell you want,
Yeah. My videos are done for the sake of making art that I love making and for, entertaining an audience. And I'm in the sort of unique, privileged position where I don't really need to worry about anything else at the moment, which is nice. It's definitely a blessing.
That is really cool that you got all that stuff.
In terms of editing style, I think the countdown maker who... I don't think any one countdown maker directly inspired my editing style, but I will say that I think Fawful's Minion, to me, has had some of the best presentation at the time. I think people meme on him because he has such like raw emotionality in his videos.
Yeah.
But I think he did a lot. I think he did a lot to sort of innovate on visual presentation on countdown making. I remember sort of back in the day, he was a lot more saturated with like editing gags. He had way more polished presentation. You could go back to a lot of his videos from like 2014 or something, and they would look like very solid countdowns from today, basically.
Yeah, and he's still pumping out good content today. Although I do find it funny when you made that call out with like the opinion. Which game was it? Did you say they had like Bioshock? Was
to be fair, he took the first shot at me.
Oh yeah, he did. You're right. I do remember that now. He did call you out.
in the loneliest video game list, he said something like, "Oh, I still love and secretly prefer you, Bioshock 2," and then he goes, "Fuck you, Wambu." So I retaliated, and I DM'd him, and I told him, "I'm gonna retaliate to this. You're gonna fucking eat your words, champ." And he goes, "Yeah, go on, take the bait." And I'm like, "I fucking will, and I'll throw the fishing line back in your face, buddy."
The hook's getting caught in your nose.
Bit of friendly competition there.
Yeah, it's fun when you get to do stuff like that. It's just...
Yeah, he's a fun person though. Him and I played TF2 together, and there's this like, I think he got to see the side of me that's just like a constant giggly goober. Because that's something in my friend groups, is that I sort of giggle and laugh at like everything. It's so easy to make me laugh.
Yeah.
And I think he got to sort of see that side of me and was just like, I think at one point he was like, I was just messing around in the game, and we were on opposite teams, so he couldn't even see what's happening, but he was like, "You sound like a goddamn Tickle Me Elmo right now."
Tickle Me Elmo, baby.
Yeah.
A Tickle Me Elbow that'll steal your soul.
Yeah. I'm coming for that guy. I love Flavel's minion, but I'm gonna kill him. His blood will be on my hands.
And to freak him out even more, you're gonna reenact the beginning scene from Scream.
I guess to go back to answering the really broad question about inspirations, I think I'm sorry, I'm going off track a lot.
Oh, it's perfectly fine. I'm enjoying this conversation entirely.
But to answer the really broad question about inspirations, I don't think there's any one person who either who I guess directly inspired me to the point where I would specifically want to crit from them or anything. It was just that I watched a bunch of people, and in doing so, in being a lurker for like 3 years or so before I eventually decided to make my own countdowns, I got a really good handle on the things that I liked and didn't like from other countdown makers, and that sort of helped me formulate my own style.
Yeah, just when you get like the perfect inspiration from just like a whole bunch of different sources, I think that's when things get perfectly set into place, because then that means like if you take inspiration from several other people rather than just one, you can easily make your own style. Yeah. But by the way, one other thing that I've noticed from like some of your previous videos, and maybe even in some videos that you make nowadays, is that there is a lot, and I mean like a lot of Killer 7 stuff in there.
I love Killer 7.
That game is, because like I noticed like a lot of the sound effects that you use are like from like failing puzzles and successfully completing puzzles in that game. By the way, I recently got to fully play the game. I was uploading stuff for it, but some of the other footage got lost, so unfortunately that happened.
Yeah.
But hey,
a lot of my early bumper sequences used to be like the Killer 7 guitar twang that played when you solved a puzzle.
Yeah.
I just yeah, I still use a lot of Killer 7 sound effects, and that's just because I like them a lot, and I think they can be applicable in a lot of ways. They're very interesting sounds, and my aesthetic over the years has only gotten sort of more surreal and more cosmic.
Kind of just like Killer
So,
7.
yeah.
God, that game is so weird, but I love it.
hmm
So, like, what?
Uh,
Anything else by like Suda51 that grabs your attention too?
no, it's just Killer 7. I didn't even.
Really?
I never even got like I never even got into like No More Heroes or anything like that. It's just Killer 7 in terms of Suda 51's work for me.
Man, because I've been I remember like back when it was like okay, I know I gotta divulge on this story because this is a horror story for me when I first played No More Heroes 1 specifically, because it was like I had gotten it for my birthday, and like we were celebrating with my whole family at like this local pizzeria place. It was really nice. We went home and we went home, and then I instantly plugged the game in. I was having fun with the game. I was enjoying a lot of it. Then I got to the infamous fight against Shinobu and instantly lost my shit.
Oh god.
God, like I don't like since you haven't played since you haven't played No More Heroes, sorry, you haven't exactly experienced the horror of playing
I
against Shinobu the first time.
I've
Because on my
yeah,
like, well, actually, you
I was
first.
gonna say I at least know about the game because like I was a fan of Alex Roshan's lists, and
Yeah,
I liked his original No More Heroes list in particular back in the day.
same, and like Shinobu was like 23 on his list because at the time that was only No More Heroes 1 and 2 were out. So like
Yeah.
Shinobu was like the third worst. Meanwhile, it was like I believe, of course, Jasper Bat Jr. was literally F tier, and then Million Gunman was like right above that.
Yeah. Um
But yeah,
I
fighting again. It was so. I gotta continue this story because it's so funny. But it's like I remember like just getting so aggravated with that boss. Like about 2.5 hours of just sheer pain of losing and losing, and like literal tears of despair coming out of my eyes.
uh
And then like I quit and was like it was like crying in my sleep, and then like I woke up the next
oh my
morning
god, dude.
and then beat her on my second try.
Hell
And,
yeah.
but then like after going back to playing the version of the game on the Switch, which is still basically the same thing, it's just now it's on the Switch. I actually had a pretty fun time fighting her. I'm not gonna lie. I think my idea of I think I just like sucked really hard at being being an alpha gamer male, or just sucking at being a gamer in general. Just like I think that's sort of why I didn't do that well against her in the first place. But understanding how the game works overall, like doing dark stuff and stuff, I improved. By the way, none of that is
I
actually going to be in the documentary proper. I just wanted to tell this story because it's been one that's
Yeah.
lingering in my mind, and I needed like a lot of the internet to know because this is just
Yeah.
something that's been
I
lingering.
I don't even I don't even need to play the No More Heroes games to know that Captain Vladimir is my favorite fight.
Oh,
Like
really?
just because that's my favorite aesthetic. Like just this flying astronaut guy like in the shooting beams from space with like the sunrise coming up. I'm like that's just atmospherically my favorite thing in any of the games.
Yeah,
Like I'm just
and
like I don't even need to play the games. I'm just like that's my favorite fight. I
yeah,
don't even need to play
yeah,
it.
and there's like even the thing where like those wired tentacles coming off his back, they start
Yeah.
reducing in number the more his health goes down, which also goes along with how the sunrise comes up steadily as the fight progresses.
Yeah.
That's some cool Suda51 shit right there. When Suda51 gets
Yeah.
to do what he wants to do, especially with something like No More Heroes 3, recently played that. That was fun. Like when he gets to do what he wants, he just does some really good shit. Like, especially
Yeah.
Killer 7, which is what most people consider to be his like magnum opus, and I can agree to an extent. I personally think that No More Heroes 1 is like his best work.
Yeah, I mean, that being said, I can't really weigh in on this because, again, in terms of his work, I've only played Killer 7, so
Yeah.
at this point, we probably should talk about something that I actually can weigh in on.
Yeah. Like, how about
So,
what so okay, I don't know why I'm stuttering on this, but what is your personal favorite like video that you have actually ever made, and like why was that? If you don't have a favorite, then like one of your favorites and why would be just fine.
yeah, like, honestly, it might be the Spookies list. It's tough, like, the ones that stand out in my mind are definitely the Spookies list. Um, the ranking of the Dream Friends,
Uh,
the Mario Odyssey Kingdoms ranked, I think, is my favorite collaboration that I've done, and the the April Fool's videos too, especially I think the 2019 one with like the sad Wambu. I think those are some of my favorites.
I feel like
think,
that's just like your anti-self. Like that's how I consider it in the lore. That's like just your anti-self making a video without your permission.
the unfortunate thing is, you know,
Your bottom
like
10 materials. I sometimes love quoting your videos, by the way. That's one of my big things.
It's all good. One of the unfortunate things I think is that, you know, since it takes me like months to work on these, there always reaches a point where I become desensitized to my own jokes, which sort of makes me question, like, am I really being funny with this? But then, like, you know, people tend to respond well regardless, and I love that.
Yeah.
You know, so when I talk about my own favorite videos, I inevitably have to approach it from the angle of, like, what was it like to work on it, or what was the overall, you know, impact of it. And I think and when I think of it from that standpoint, then it's definitely the Spookies list that sticks out in my mind. Recording the footage for that list was a blast. The editing was a whole lot of fun. And, you know, in terms of the overall impact it had on my channel, it's definitely like the biggest. It's ended up being one of my most impactful videos by far. And so that's what I, and on top of that, I also hold to all the opinions I had on that list, which is definitely a good thing as well. It helps when I can actually, like, agree with myself from the past.
By the way, do you actually plan on doing a video where you talk about some of the other specimens?
Yes. I'm definitely gonna do a follow-up video where I talk about the other specimens.
I'm just thinking, like, I feel like you're like, a part of me feels like when you put when you're like talking shit about Otto the Otter, like I'm just feeling like you're either going to stick by it and show how much you hate him, or show how you have like somewhat of an appreciation for him, despite the like, even though he's kind of a shit monster, he's still hilariously charming in his own way. Because those memes that you put of just like the goddamn text bubbles are just too stupidly funny.
That was another one of Wave's creations.
Of course, Wave.
Yeah. Yeah, Otto the Otter. I don't think it's even a spoiler to say that he's the worst monster in the game.
Yeah,
Like,
like is he
when
like
I do
isn't he
make
just like really slow?
when I do make that list, it's not even a spoiler to say that he's gonna get bottom spot. But it's I guess the thing about him is that there really isn't even a cohesive joke with him. Like, he's just really shitty. Like, that's the whole thing with him. He's shitty and he's a reference to FNAF. There really isn't any sort of coherent punchline with him, but he's really fun to make. Like, insulting Otto the Otter never gets old. Like, punching down against Otto the Otter is just really, really enjoyable in and of itself. Like, I can't actually be mad at Otto, but like, yeah, he is the worst creature in that game. But like, at least making fun of him is always enjoyable.
Yeah, it's kind of like making fun of like someone like Hercule or Dan Hibiki.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they're kind of like except for those guys, those are actual like joke characters essentially.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, even those guys have like a coherent joke.
Yeah.
Otto the Otter doesn't even have that. He's just bad.
You're right. There's no coherency. Oh man.
But yeah. Any other questions?
Oh yeah. Quite a few still. For one,
Okay.
we've been pretty jovial and stuff, but I feel like a part of the thing that sometimes that I always kind of get a little concerned about, but it's just sort of like because usually I just care about a lot of people in general, but it's usually the fact that, like, I'm not trying to humble brag or anything, because I feel like I am when I say that, and I hate that.
Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
But anyways, like, what are some of your biggest struggles, not only just with making some of these videos, but with like some of the anxiety that you deal with, and how do you essentially cope with that? Because that's been like a big thing that I've noticed, like, still, like, even though you are glad to see all the positivity from all your fans in those videos, like sometimes I can see that slight bit of depression in there, you know, because
so I guess like I said, I went most of my life with untreated anxiety, and I haven't touched on this, but like, I also have an eating disorder that I still am working on, and I guess it was like for most of my career, like, it wasn't until 2020, like early 2020, that I was officially diagnosed with anxiety. So a lot of it was, me being my own sort of internal coach and trying to sort of keep myself going before I even knew that I had anxiety. Once I actually started going to therapy, things definitely started improving, though, and especially with the last list, actually. I was able to get the editing on it done a lot faster because I now recognize some of the symptoms of anxiety. I recognize that oftentimes I'll start to sort of catastrophize, like, oh geez, what if I work on this for months and the audience doesn't like this, or what if everyone's mad at me for being too slow, or whatever. Like, I start to ruminate on things like way too much, and I've learned to surmount that a whole lot better than I used to be able to. I remember during like the Splatoon list in particular from back in the day, I fell into so many depressive bouts because I just thought like I'm not like I just thought like I'm gonna hit diminishing returns and I'm never gonna get better with this, and this is never going to matter to anyone except for me, or something like that. And I was lucky enough to have really supportive friends who also just genuinely enjoyed my work. When they were being, really positive to me and giving me like such, kind support and everything, it didn't feel like they were bullshitting me,
Yeah.
It felt like,
It didn't feel
they
like they were
genuinely
like
meant it.
it didn't feel like it was just like it's just like, yeah, you did a good job, and then sort of like shit talk you behind your back sort of thing. No, they
Well, it
genuinely
didn't.
they genuinely cared about what you thought. And those are
Yeah,
kinds
and
of
it
friends
was.
that are friends for life essentially.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was like genuine positivity, not just positive platitudes. If that makes sense.
Yeah, like sort of like fake positive comments.
Yeah, but the whole journey has really been, me sort of learning about mental health and anxiety, recognizing my own tendencies that I don't always have control over, and learning to accept them as a part of myself, and not to, and learn to be, I guess, not an overly harsh critic towards myself, if that makes sense. I I used to go into these big like anxiety attacks, and then I would get mad at myself for having an anxiety attack. I would think like, "Oh man, why am I like this? Why can't I just get my shit together?" Um but then, I had to sort of learn, it's not my fault. This is just what happens when people have anxiety, is that they occasionally go through this sort of thing. And it's not my fault, and it's okay for this to happen. Uh It'll pass. And so that's been a big part of the journey, is just, accepting things, accepting that I'm going to be kind of slow, accepting that sometimes I'm going to ruminate a bit too much, uh, accepting that, sometimes the stress might get a bit too much for me, but that's okay and it's normal.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that honestly does make a lot of sense. Some people have issues like that. My girlfriend, she's been having a lot of issues for throughout her whole life, and unlike when you had like that positivity of your friends and even some family members even giving you positivity and hope, she really didn't get that much, unfortunately.
Mhm.
And I'm one of the few people in her life that's actually been giving her that positivity. But that just
That's
emphasizes the
good.
fact that it's important to have those people in your life that are willing to be by your side to support you and just generally just be good friends or family or loved ones. No bullshit, no
Yeah,
nothing, just someone who's close to the heart. And that's what
yeah,
that's what
definitely.
matters most.
Yeah, and it's definitely important to be kind to oneself as well, and to recognize, mental illness like anxiety or depression. It's not a character failing. It's in the name. It is an illness. It's something that, you don't blame someone for like getting a cold or something,
Or I mean,
like.
unless they were like hanging around like too many like
But
other
you you
people
you
on purpose, like
you,
getting sick and stuff.
you,
Like,
you,
and
you,
then
you
you
get
can
my point.
blame them,
You don't.
but you
Yeah,
can't really
you
blame
get my
someone for
point. You
getting
don't.
cancer.
Yeah, you don't blame someone for being sick. So you don't, blame. It's important not to blame yourself for having depression or anxiety or whatever your disposition is.
Yeah. Sometimes I kind of wish she understood that to herself. My girlfriend.
It'll take some time.
Yeah, it will.
You know,
She has her struggles, but soon enough
yeah,
she's gonna try and lift herself off the ground to find a new a place where without like
yeah,
a lot of her family kind of just putting her down. Because
yeah,
because God knows she's been dealing with that for way too long. But yeah,
yeah. Best of luck to her.
yeah, thank you. But anyways, what about any future plans, by the way, aside from like what do you feel like you're gonna do like in like the far future? Like, what's your biggest like passion project that you're thinking about aside from YouTube, or like any sort
Um,
of thing, like any sort of like
I
long
mean,
build up project? Because I certainly got one that I recently have been making.
I I I hope to stick with YouTube as long as I can. I really do love the channel, and I hope to keep doing it to the best that I can. But I do I was thinking this year I would try to teach myself Blender and whatnot, and because I have some friends that want to make video games, and I've had video game projects in the past before. I don't know a damn thing about coding, but
Yeah.
there's other stuff I could do. I could learn. I could I could relearn how to make character models. I could relearn how to rig them and like work on animation and stuff. I wanna just teach myself other skills as well because it's fun, and you never know what sort of skills will come in handy when it comes to making the art that you want to make.
Yeah. Anyways, I do have some other questions that are just sort of like just a bit of like fun stuff that I wanted to.
Yeah. Okay.
So like one thing that I remember you bringing up is that you learned 10 years of Japanese, correct?
Yes.
Like you
I
can perfectly speak Japanese.
No. God no. I studied Japanese for a while. I took Japanese classes in school. I can understand Japanese decently well. I still have a really hard time speaking it back.
Yeah.
And even then, there's probably a lot of stuff that I've forgotten at this point. But I think I know more about Japanese than like your average non-Japanese speaker, but I certainly am not good enough to actually speak the language myself.
Well, I'm also wondering, was it because of anime that you wanted to learn it? Was that the reason, or is there like another actual reason?
I don't want to say that anime wasn't a part of it, but I I think I just like the whole something about the sound of the language and the general aesthetic of Japan. I think clicked with me when I was in like middle school, and that's when I sort of decided like what, in high school I want to learn Japanese because it just seems like a cool language.
It kind of, in a way, it kind of is. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
I
a
still
lot less.
have
Apparently, there's like a lot less like weird things that Japanese has in comparison to like English, but still has its own like
yeah.
weird quirks to it.
Yeah, I can still read hiragana and katakana perfectly. Kanji is a pain in the ass, and honestly, I think most native Japanese speakers would probably tell you that same thing. That kanji is like really difficult.
Ah, that's why it's usually stick to like sound effects and stuff for like animes and stuff. Just what and oh man, now I'm thinking because I'm thinking like what is your favorite anime essentially if you've really gotten any sort of like favorite in your head.
Samurai Champloo is probably my favorite anime. It's like it's tough because there's plenty of anime that I really like, but that's kind of my default answer whenever I'm asked the question. I love Samurai Champloo.
You ever checked out
It's got a lot of.
Cowboy Bebop? By the way, I think the
I have not finished it though.
uh
But yeah. But Samurai Champloo combines a lot of things that I really love, like samurais, um, and hip hop. I love rap music, and I think a lot of the soundtrack, if I remember correctly, was done by. I know at the very least the opening theme was done by Nujabes, whose music I like quite a bit.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like now you're, because like I feel like one of your favorite gaming soundtracks now is definitely like the Mad World soundtrack.
Mad World does have a great soundtrack. Mad World
I
has
agree.
a
That game is
wonderful.
kick ass.
Mad World. My favorite soundtrack is Silent Hill 2, but Mad World does have a really really good soundtrack.
Yeah, it really do. It really do hit hard.
Yeah. Ride is my favorite song from the soundtrack. Ride is such a good song.
Let's go, y'all. Let's go, y'all.
I think that's Get It Up.
Oh no, wait, we gotta get it up. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh wait, now I think
Ride's like the one that's like we gon' ride, we gon' ride.
Oh yeah,
that one.
Yeah. I was thinking like when you said ride, because like there were 3 songs I thought in my head was Get It Up, which was obviously wrong.
Yeah.
And then there was that one, but I was also thinking of the one that was in the one for the stage where you fight Kojak.
I don't remember in particular.
And it's because like do what the fuck we wanna do, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That game is fun though. That is such a good game. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
that was another one of Alex's early lists that I really liked.
the bosses in that game. Yeah, I remember that.
I
think that was the reason why I got the game in the first place.
I'm actually a bit of a contrarian though, because I actually kind of enjoyed fighting the shamans.
Oh man. Like I thought they were okay. It was a little weird to fight them around the entire stage, but I thought they were okay. Yeah. Still though, Black Baron slaps.
Yeah, he's actually another person that I've gotten to talk to a little bit.
The Black
like something that's been.
Wait, the Black Baron?
Not the Black Baron, Alex. Alex.
Oh yeah.
It's always surreal because like I was watching these people in like early 2010s, and now they know who I am, and that's like a very surreal feeling for me. But it feels nice.
Yeah, because Alex has been doing like a whole bunch of new and different stuff recently with like VA.
Yeah.
His Spamton stuff is just amazing.
If you told me back in like 2014 that Fawful's Minion would one day release a video where he said the words "fuck you, Wambu," I think 2014 Wamboy would have just exploded with glee.
Fuck you, Wambu! You never had the cheese I wanted. What about? Actually, now I'm just because I wanted to jump to this. Well, actually, first of all, continue with what you were gonna say.
No, it's all good. What did you want to switch to?
To like favorite video game. Like, which one is your absolute favorite?
It would probably, like, my default answer for this is the first BioShock. But
I can understand that one. I need to get it to play BioShock, but right now my Steam account has been having some issues, and I'm trying to get that resolved. So yay!
And listen, I'm sorry, Fawful's Minion, but BioShock 2 is really bad. It's not a good game. I'm sorry. It sucks. It's way worse in terms of writing. I'm sorry. Yeah, the original BioShock I love. And then Undertale and Hollow Knight are other games that would like be in my top 3.
Yeah. You ever gotten to play any of the Devil May Cry games yet?
No, I haven't. I haven't been super interested in Devil May Cry. I'm not actually, weirdly enough, I'm not a big 3D hack and slash guy.
Oh, I will tell you this much. I am just, if I see a cool action game, I'm just like, fuck yeah, I want that. And that's like my
Yeah.
big thing as to how I've gotten into like with two of my favorite games literally being Devil May Cry 3 and 5. Just literally
Yeah.
top 3 right there. But like if I had to say my all-time favorite, it's it's got to be Red Steel 2. Have you ever heard of that one?
Oh, really?
Yeah. You actually know about that game?
Yes, I played the original Red Steel.
I you poor soul.
Yeah.
Wait,
I
wait,
played the first Red Steel.
and I always am just like fuck you, original Red Steel, because you're the reason why the sequel isn't popular. Because
Yeah.
people saw it's just like, oh, Red Steel 1, it was like a lot of people were like, oh, this game's gonna be so cool and stuff, and like got all hyped up and stuff, and then bam, that game just got bad scores and bad reviews because of the fact that it's just terrible. Like it's badly controlled. And then Red Steel 2 comes out and fixes that problem with the Wii Motion Plus, and that game runs smooth as butter, and it's got an actual interesting art style and doesn't have any relation to the other game aside from the name.
Yeah.
And yet nobody bought it because they thought, oh, it's just gonna be like the original. And then I saw like Green Scorpion talk about the game in like the top 10 games you've never heard of, and I saw that game, saw how it played, and I'm like, I love this aesthetic, I want that, I want it.
Yeah.
I got it, played it, I had the time of my life.
Yeah. I speaking of Green Scorpion, like honestly, big shout out to him because he's like, it's funny, like I actually didn't watch him too much back in the day. I had like friends who were fans of his work, but he's probably like, in terms of countdown buddies, he's like the person I'm closest to, probably.
Really?
Like
I'm surprised you two
was-
haven't done like a collab yet.
Yeah, we've been wanting to get something together, but he was one of the first like big named countdowners that like really sort of made me feel like I was a part of this as well. And he's just been a really, really good friend for quite a while now.
Yeah, like he's been kind of like
Him-
controversial though, because like some people just don't like his style of countdowning. They're just like, oh, he just
Yeah.
info dumps too much. It's like sometimes that's just the style that he goes.
That's his appeal, dude.
Yeah, that's his identity.
If you watch Green Scorpion, then you watch Green Scorpion because you want to learn a bunch of fun shit about the things he's talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. He's not super big joke dude. He's like, I'm gonna drop a shit ton of like trivia on
Yeah, it's
you,
like
and
this is top 10 channel with fun facts. That's his shtick.
He does crazy research into the things that he talks about, and he talks about them with such passion too. And that's how he is in real life too. Like he is no different in real life than he is in his videos.
And you know that's a good identity to have, where it's just like
Yeah.
you're only like slightly different to how you are like IRL in comparison to how you present yourself in your videos. Like maybe you're just like I guess the only like slight difference that would be how in videos you're a lot more formatted when it comes to like scripted ones, but then it's just like in real life it's just like you still have like that same exact personality, but it's just more of like, you know, you're just sort of like speaking off the cuff, telling people like what you think and stuff, just all that kind of shit. You're just minus the script.
Him, myself, and Aramel, the fiery secretary, not Josh Scorcher, but Josh Scorcher's wife.
Yeah.
The three of us would often read like early versions of our scripts to each other.
just
So,
as like a joke.
Those two, like Ari and Green Scorpion, they're like my OG countdown buddies. Well, those two and Chaos Key 4013.
Oh yeah, you've mentioned him, how he's like Ugandan Knuckles. I'm just thinking of that scene. It's just like,
Yeah.
it's like, just like with perfect chaos.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sorry,
and
again, I feel like I'm getting sidetracked again.
I know, but it's fine. It's fine. I've just been having fun talking to you. You know, it's just been an honor
Yeah.
essentially to talk to you.
Hey,
Like
yeah,
like
it's thanks for doing this with me.
no, thank you, good sir. I gotta say, I've just, man, this has been so much fun. But I do want to ask
Hmm.
one other thing because this was an idea that I just recently had in my head, and I was hoping
Okay.
that maybe, if it were possible, I would just love to have like an opportunity to do like at least one collab with you. I would that would make my
Uh,
heart soar.
oh, so I will say I am like a little bit picky about who I collaborate with,
That's
just because like I usually try to collaborate with people who I know for sure I have good chemistry with because like I
yeah.
just know them. So probably not for now, but someday I'd be open to the idea.
Yeah, because I was thinking of, because one of the big things I've been wanting to talk about recently has been like Smash Brothers, because I'm actually on my college's esports team,
Oh
and
no.
I've been playing and doing some pretty good stuff. I'm not the best on my team, but but I could be kind of obnoxious with the specific characters that I play. I'm gonna be honest, like so,
Yeah.
like because I'm just gonna say it right now, but my Kazuya just absolutely fucks.
Excellent.
And it's just like, because like ever since I saw his trailer, I was just like, I love this man. I'm glad he's in the game. And like I've been trying to practice electrics and stuff and all that stuff, and my friends have been kind of hating the fact that he's just got some really stupid stuff in his toolkit.
Yeah. Oh no, Kazuya is terrifying.
Yeah, he's just like, have you seen like what a really good Kazuya could do? They could just wave dash all the way towards you, and just, God, the fact that his upper body invincibility makes him super scary with that, because you can just avoid some attacks while approaching you. And then there's the armor and stuff, like, oh my god. But like the idea I was having in my head that I wanted to talk about specifically was literally just like talking about all the DLC characters and ranking them from worst to best for Smash Ultimate.
Yeah.
That was literally my idea.
Yeah. I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be a no for now, just because I like it's nothing personal.
I know.
It's
Well,
just that like
I mean, in a way, it kind of is, because it's more of like personal connection, since you haven't gotten to know
yeah.
me that much. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's a yeah.
but like I'm happy to, but I'd be happy to like just be friends with you and just essentially just shoot the shit, do whatever.
Yeah, I'm happy to shoot the shit every now and then for sure.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like I don't know. It's like the thing is like I don't know. It's weird. Like collaborations and stuff tend to happen very like organically with me. It's been because I've had plenty of friends that are like, we should collaborate, and I'm kind of like, I don't know. Just because I don't really know my chemistry with them as well. Like I've done a lot of collaborations with Ed because I know for sure that I like work well with him on these things.
Yeah. It really is a matter of like how well you can you can combine like your styles of humor and or ways of presenting stuff, and it just all has to
Yeah.
fuse together. Yeah.
Were there any other questions?
I'm trying to think if I do, but other than maybe that, I don't honestly think so. Other than maybe just the fact
Okay.
that I'd like to just stay in contact, just essentially.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you're a pretty cool dude. I gotta say
Thank you.
and of course I've been loving your content. I actually, it was really funny because the whole thing with like the idea behind this whole thing was it got started when I had recently learned with one of my friends that's on the esports team. He doesn't play Smash, but he's like he's like doing some of like the some of the other stuff for it. And he and he told me that he actually is a fan of yours, and I'm like, yo, you're a fan of Wambu too? And I'm like, and I was like,
Hell yeah.
and I was like pogging and shit.
Thank you.
And then just,
Yeah.
and then afterwards, I had my documentary class, and then I just was like, and they were talking about how, and it was like we had the assignment of having to write a proposal about like making a documentary, and then the idea came to me when I saw your Twitter handle, and then I was like, you know, I feel like I wanted to talk about something I want to talk about a lot, and I feel like it was something I could actually do. And then it turned out it was like, no, all you need to do is just the proposal. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm still gonna do it eventually. At least this doesn't put me in like a time crunch, you know. Now I've got like actually like a lot more time to set up the video and get all the footage I need. You know, I think that just makes things a lot more flexible, because I got plans for what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm hoping to actually like get a few other like small interviews with like some of the other countdown creators you were talking about, like maybe getting in contact with like Green Scorpion, Josh, Alex, etc. Talk about how they view you and stuff, and like how like the whole community as a whole views you, because it's not just my opinion that matters. It's also the fact that there's the opinion of like your fan base and some of your friends and other cohorts. Because like I know like a part of this documentary had me, well, this interview specifically had me talking about some stuff about me, but this is about you, man. This is about you.
Yeah.
You're one of my favorite channels on you're one of my favorite channels on YouTube of all time, and it's just been
Thank
really
you so
nice.
much. Yeah, it's very flattering. Thank you so much for supporting my work, and thank you so much for even thinking of putting this whole documentary together. I hope it turns out well.
I really hope that I can get some stuff, some good stuff going with this. And which, speaking of which, probably the only things that I really am needing are like, aside from getting myself a proper Vergil avatar to like work integrally with the interview, I'm also probably gonna need that like cardboard cutout of yourself that you had for like the Spookies interview with
Kira. Yeah. That was awesome, because after the interview was over, they were just like, hey, you want me to make a specimen 1 version of you? And I'm like, are you sure? And they're like, yeah, it'll only take me a few minutes.
Oh, that's amazing. But if like there's like any sort of like I don't need like the entirety of like your regular model. I just need like a simplified version of it, because it's mostly gonna be static. And also, I'll probably need like I'm probably gonna need the liquid too for the child stuff. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Actually, wait.
Should I stop the recording?
Actually, I do have one other question. This is a very weird question, because I remember you bringing it up in your other video, in one of your videos. Do you actually eat the plastic of joysticks? I gotta know.
I used to do that as a kid. I still don't do it. I don't do it. I don't actually do it now.
I just thought that I just love that part. It's just like, just kidding. I still do that.
Yeah, that was I don't know. I feel like that's like a,
like, you know, like
I don't know what it is. That was like yeah, it was like as a kid I used to be kind of addicted to like chewing rubber things like that. So I used to do that as a kid. I don't do it anymore now.
Yeah. That's just stuff where it's like fingernail biting or nose picking, etc.
Yeah.
It's just sort of a thing. But anyways,
I do still bite my fingernails, unfortunately.
Oh, same. I relate. But I just do it out of habit. I don't do it out of like anxiety. But I'm just like, these are kind of getting long. Time to shorten them.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was really, really fun talking to you. I am so glad that.
Yeah, it was fun talking to you too.
Yeah, thank you.